My mouth went desert dry for no reason other than the fact that it was an inconvenient time. I swallowed a few times, hoping it would go away. The dryness turned into a tickle. I pressed my lips firmly together and told that tickle to go away. A cough escaped my lips. I cringed and squeezed my eyes shut, as if that was some sort of defense mechanism. Slowly, carefully, I turned my head. I peeked through my eyelashes, hoping not to startle whatever creature was in here. Please don't be a raccoon. Please don't be a... It wasn't a raccoon. And there was no chair or any other piece of dumpster furniture. Staring back at me was a very large, very naked man. His shoulders were those of a linebacker, his arms so thick he could crush a walnut by bending his elbow, and even his abs had abs. I was pretty sure there weren't supposed to be that many muscles in the human body. Simply being in the presence of such a sight should have burst steam from my ears and my eyes from my skull, but my mind went numb instead. This whole scenario simply wasn't possible. I refused to look down and see the details past those abs, and instead shot my attention straight up to his face. Above a full salt and pepper beard, his nose was crooked like he'd taken a punch or 5 in the past. It was hard to imagine him losing a fight to anyone, given his build. Yet I found that broken nose to be his most interesting feature. The stranger's eyes flashed a way too familiar with me way. Good morning. All at once my brain kick-started, and I realized a naked man was in my van. A shriek burst from my chest, and I writhed and kicked and scratched like the raccoon I'd expected him to be. He flinched, startled, then backed up and fell out of the open side door, providing my desired result: stranger out. I slammed the door shut and scrambled into the front of the van. My hands shook as I searched for the keys under the visor where I left them while I slept. Fortunately, they were there. My heart pounded against my ribcage, turning the thumping sensation in my head into a systemic affair. The tires squealed on the pavement as I drove out of the campground like my life depended on it. There was no place I was running to, only the man I was running from. Who was he? And how had he ended up in my van, wrapped around me like the tortilla to my burrito? Cold air sent a wave of goosebumps up my legs, and my teeth chattered. I glanced down and found that I was only wearing a long-sleeved shirt and underpants. No pants. I tilted the rear view to check the floor where I'd slept, and found no sign of my shoes or my missing pants. There weren't any man clothes either. Was that a good thing or a bad thing? I wasn't sure. Had he strolled in from the forest, some kind of nature-loving nudist? Or weirder, had we somehow lost our pants together? Ha! Now that was crazy. Could I safely return to my camping spot tonight? Or would the nudist come back for another snuggle? Or perhaps something darker? I'd learned some solid skills growing up, namely theft and living lean. But as a woman traveling alone, I really should have set up some kind of system where I told someone where I was going to be. Then again, I'd have needed to have someone in my life to check in with. Maybe, later on, I'd figure out a system like that with an old work acquaintance or long-lost foster sibling or something. What I knew for certain, right this moment, was that I needed to put on some pants. Out the side window, I spotted the Majestic S'mores campground sign. Below the name of the site, in a curly font and next to a charred cartoon Marshmallow who looked weirdly chipper given his head was aflame, were the words, "Have a marshmallow of a good time." Marshmallow, of course, was an adorable name for an adorable town, even if it had a secret nudist problem. It was a sparkling nugget of small-town charm smack in the center of sprawling forest. After arriving yesterday, I'd spent the day walking around the downtown area, exploring the little shops and the farmers' market treats. From there, I'd settled in at my campsite, settled into a good book, and then... My recollection grew hazy. I pulled off the road into a shady little parking lot behind a squat building. The lot had a dumpster in one of the 4 parking spots, and grass growing up through cracks in the pavement. Frito, rusted like a matchbox car left out too long in a mud puddle, looked like he belonged.